We like to talk about matters health on Tuesday, and today we've got quite the interesting story that's going to be coming your way. What's the connection between diet, nutrition, and cancer? Have you ever wondered this? Well, I've got a cancer survivor who's going to be sharing her story and telling us more about how she discovered the link between diet and cancer, and how it is that she changed her lifestyle to adjust. Of course, if you are watching and have questions or comments regarding what we're talking about, you can feel free to SMS us. The line is open. It's 22422. You can tweet at Citizen TV Kenya at Joey_Mutengi and just use the hashtag Power Breakfast. Now, Kathini Ndirangu here in studio with me is part of the Mutunga Foundation and also a cancer survivor. Welcome to Power Breakfast.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for making time for us. Before we get into diet and nutrition and everything that is before us here today, we want to hear about your story. People watching want to hear about your cancer story. So I guess let's start at the beginning. What type of cancer were you suffering from, and when were you diagnosed?
Actually, I'm not a cancer survivor. I am a cancer patient.
Okay.
I'm glad that I was invited at this time, because half the time people are telling their story 10 years down the road. But actually, I am a cancer patient as we are talking. I was discovered, actually, I discovered that I had cancer last year in October, and my surgery was done in November. I had breast cancer, the right breast cancer, stage 2. What happened was, initially I had been having a small, tiny, like the dengue, you know, the green crumb size. I could always feel it, but then I always ignored it. I would say, keep checking. It's not growing.
Did you go for regular checkups before this?
I always used to do my mammogram, but actually, to my surprise, I did a mammogram in March last year. It showed nothing. I did another mammogram in July. It showed nothing. But by that time, I could feel clearly that I had a lump on my lower breast. And so I kept watching that breast, and the breast shape changed. When the shape changed, I knew there was trouble. As much as I was in denial, because half the time you're like, oh, I've been eating healthy, because I'm a Seventh-day Adventist, and we have this thing about diet. We don't eat this, we know what to eat to be healthy. So I'd been having a healthy diet, so it came as a surprise. So when it came, I went to my doctor, and he said, oh, don't worry, it's a cyst, it will go away. Because that's my first gyno. Because I guess because the mammogram showed nothing. So I changed doctor. I said, this is not right. I went to another doctor, and this other doctor said, he examined me, and he said, oh, a practicing doctor looked at you and said, you're fine. Because he didn't refer me to any, like a breast. That
must have been a confusing time, because part of you maybe wants to feel relieved that this doctor has said there's nothing wrong, but the other part of you feels that, you know, there's something still that needs to be examined here.
Actually not, because I knew something was wrong. You have to know your own body. If you don't know your own body, the doctor will not help you. The decisions you make about your body, it has to be from you, not from the doctor. The doctor just does what he has to do, but you have to know your body. You have to know, what do I expect? Where should I, what should I do with my body? Because it's your body, right? So I changed, and I go to this other doctor, and he sent me for an ultrasound, and the ultrasound shows I have 3 lumps at the bottom. So the next stage is to do biopsy. And I do the biopsy, and it comes positive. When it comes positive, I take the results. All this time, I'm not telling anybody. But I just called, at this point, I called my sister, and I told her, oh, I'm at this hospital, and I'm at the hospital, and I just came for a checkup. You know, I've been having this lumpy breast. I don't want to I'm just trying to be soft, because I know they are not ready. I'd been feeling like, oh, maybe it is. So psychologically, I was prepared, but I know nobody else would have been prepared. So, but the worst was for my daughter. I see the results, and I put them under the chair in the car, and I leave them there so that she doesn't see them. But in the morning, she gets into the car before me, and guess what? She takes the results, she reads them, and I come into the car, and I find the results there. She has read and she says, oh, I've just seen your results. And I go, and that broke my heart, because I was not ready for that. Yes, we had been talking about it. Maybe she did expect something, but I didn't want it to happen like that. And she tells me, but how come you knew later now? Because I just drove her to school. I didn't have that conversation. I mean, I was not ready for it. So I drop her in school, and I leave her there. And the following day she says, Mommy, but I know what it is, because last week that's what we were studying about. Wow.
And how old is your daughter?
She's 17. She's 17. So that was a bit hard. But then now I knew I have not told anybody. I have not told my mother. So I take my nephew, who is a little bit calm. If you tell him something, Kyoko, it will not go anywhere. So I go with him to Kijabe. I say, let's go to Kijabe, because my sister-in-law had cancer. She's a 13-year. She's been surviving for the last 13 years, and she's still healthy. And we go to Kijabe to see Dr. Bad. And I go in and I pull out my big files, you know, those my x-rays. And my nephew says, hey, auntie, kwani kunaendaje hizi ma files? So I tell him, kunaenda hivyo. So I go in, I book, and I'm still thinking, I've not told anybody in the family. And I say, you have to tell your mother. If nobody else, you have to tell your mother. Right. So I call my mom, I tell her how it's like this, I explain to her. And of course, I don't know her feelings, but her feelings would be your feelings, you know. And so she said, have you told Margaret? And I'm like, not yet. So I call my sister and I tell her. So now my brother, who the wife is a survivor, Tony, I don't know how to handle it, because he's gone through that journey with his wife. So I'm like, this one, I don't know. So I tell him like a day before surgery. And my sister-in-law, I've not told her. So on my way, as I'm being wheeled to the surgery room, to the theater, I just write her a text, hey, I'm more for lumpectomy. Now she understands. Wow. And she says she was so upset with me. She was. Then I go to the, well, that was not it. As I'm being, I don't know if I should say this, as I'm being wheeled, I had agreed for a lumpectomy.
And maybe you can explain that is, what that is for people.
Oh, lumpectomy, when you have breast cancer, it's either you have a lump. If it's too big, they decide to remove the breast. But if it's too small, they remove the lump. That is lumpectomy. Okay. Then if it's too big, you get mastectomy, where they remove the whole breast. So for me, it was lumpectomy. Okay. But sometimes, you have to be alert wherever you go, wherever you are. As I'm being wheeled into the theater, the girl wheeling me says, oh, namaste. And I'm like, wait a minute. I don't know what that could mean. So I'm wheeled into the theater and I don't see my doctor, and I say, I need to see the doctor. You can't start you doing anything before I see my doctor. And the doctor comes and I say, the girl that was, she meant it's mastectomy. She's alerting her peers that it's mastectomy. Okay. But you know, people are very insensitive. And I caught that and I told the doctor, you know, we're not doing a mastectomy, are we? Wow. Because maybe I could have woken up and found that it was a mastectomy. That's incredible that you were able to pick that up, because yes, we've heard these stories in the news about people having the wrong surgeries performed on them in hospitals. So yes. Yeah, so you were able to catch that, you explained it to the doctor. Yes. Yeah. Yes, I did. And he said, no, forget about her. And we went ahead and had the lumpectomy. And after that, you go into chemotherapy. You don't know much about chemo, so you just know after surgery, you wait 3 to 4 weeks, then you get into chemotherapy. Now just before you continue, were you given a choice about chemotherapy? Is it an option that you're provided, or is it just this is part of your treatment process? It is part of your treatment. In the medical world, it is they go from A to B to C. Okay. They don't go from A to C or skip. No. Okay. They just tell you after this, you actually. When I first went to see my doctor, we kind of argued because I was not in a hurry. I somehow was not scared. I never cried. I've never cried. And that's simply because your life is set. Yeah. if you're at peace with God, your life is set. Because I knew, if God has given me this, then I'm working with the Lord. So I did not feel scared. But the doctor gets there and he's trying to make you feel how urgent it is. You should do this. Because just before that, I had a serious meeting in Zange, Makueni County, whereby we were dealing with the oil spillage. And I had a meeting. I was going to meet the community so that we can see way forward about the payment of the compensation for the people. And I'm thinking, my goodness, I'm going in for this. So what happens to my meeting? Because I was going in with a human rights, because a lot has been happening and the compensation haven't been quite right. So I think all that stressed me, because when you represent the people from the heart, it's hard when you see things going wrong. So here I am, I'm trying to tell the doctor, but I have an important meeting, I have to go. And he tells me, that's when I woke up. He said, if you don't survive this, nothing else matters. So I was like, oh, it's my life here, forget those people. So that's when I just dropped everything and I scheduled for the appointment and we went in for surgery. Yeah, so from surgery he tells you, yes. Actually what I learned after the surgery is that you can actually have your chemotherapy before the surgery.
Oh, okay.
Why? Because it can reduce the tumor so that the amount that they cut is very little. Sometimes the tumor can just disappear and you do a biopsy and you find that the cancer is gone. That is what I learned from now when I went, you know, because you network a lot with cancer. You meet, everybody has a story. Everybody has a story, and everybody's story is completely different and amazing. So when I went to do my chemotherapy at the Aga Khan, I met a group of different people and we were talking and say, oh, when I came, my tumor was this big. They said they were going to do a mastectomy to cut off my breast. But I refused, and I saw this other doctor, and I was put on chemo, and on my third chemo, then you can see my lump now, I can show you my photos, they show you proof, you know. So had I known there's something like chemo first and then surgery later, maybe I would have gone for chemo first, because my scar would have been smaller. Yeah. So
what was your experience like with chemotherapy? Because I know everyone, like you're saying, is different, has different reactions and different results. What was your experience?
Chemo for me was easy. I don't understand why. Everybody says chemo for them was... I would receive my chemo today. I used to go for my chemo every Tuesday. But I do go for Bible Study Fellowship, which is called BSF. But on Wednesday, I'll be sitting for my BSF. And I did not understand. I had no side effects other than my hair falling. My oncologist... had said, Dr. Sitna Mwanzi, that's who I used at Aga Khan, she had said your hair will fall on the third chemo, maybe second or third, but guess what? My hair fell on the first chemo. And I was in Mombasa, you know how you're in Mombasa? And I scratch here and I can feel, oh, why is it cold there? And then I realized my hair is falling. But by that time I had gone natural, I had my afro. So I realized I need to tie kitambas because I didn't want to wake up in the morning and find I have no hair and I'm on holiday. And actually to test myself, I drove to Mombasa with my daughter. Chemo was easy for me. But there were days, day 7 would be so hard. You'd feel, first of all, people don't understand what chemo is. I also did not. Chemo, when you're receiving your chemotherapy, you're just sitting the way we are sitting. It's a drip. You don't feel anything. But okay, some people have, those people who've had side effects, they say, you know, they can even start throwing as they're receiving it. But I would get my chemo and I would just go home and I'll be happy. And when you receive chemo, I realized the best thing is to drink a lot of water. I drank a lot of... Nobody tells you this. Do not expect it from the doctor or anybody. Nobody tells you drink a lot of water, but your body will ask for... You will just feel... You don't feel dehydrated. You feel... maybe I should not say this. In the days, for those people who drink, in the days when I used to drink, when you have a hangover, that is how you feel. You know, you think about your worst hangover, and sorry for the people who've never taken alcohol. But that's how I say it with my friends. I say your worst hangy, that's how you feel. You can't move, you're just there. But that would only happen for me on day 7. The rest of it, my chemo, I never threw up, I never diarrheaed, I never had any of those. It was just And you attribute that to drinking a lot of water? Was it? Did it have to do also with your mental state? Because you've talked a bit about being at peace and not being scared and feeling like, you know, your spiritual journey also, I'm sure, contributed to this. I would say so. And also, I think prior to this, I had a healthy body. I eat healthy. What is eating healthy? But when I say I eat healthy, I eat all these things that you're seeing here.
Right.
But actually, most of this I was eating, but just because I know they're supposed to be eaten.
Yeah.
But after my cancer, that's when I realized. But just before that, I'd done a bone density test, which a woman should do after the age of 40, and I found that I had low bone density, and I remember getting upset. I think I was upset at God, and I remember going, been eating healthy all this time.
What do you mean?
Not been eating bread, not been taking sugar.
Yeah.
Let me have my sugar, let me have my bread.
Yeah.
So I think, and at that time, that's when this developed. Because initially I just had this little thing here that was not growing. But after that, I noticed that's when now things started. But other than that, I eat my sukuma wiki, I eat my ugali. I've always had, my family, when they're coming, I have to buy jogo because they don't like the ground one. You know, the flour that you just, the flour that you just take the maize flour to and you have it. But I have not been taking jogo. When I make my chapatis, I make the brown chapatis. So I was a healthy freak.
And this is for most of your life that you considered yourself quite
Yes,
healthy?
for most of my life, because I just love my body.
Yeah, and feeling good. And
I love my body. I love looking good. And therefore, if you do love something, you take care of it. So I'd always taken care of my body. But guess what? When this happened, I was like, God has a purpose for this. So if God has a purpose, I remember just saying, God, you've given me this, let's go. Yeah. So I'm walking with the Lord. So I'm not scared.
So, you know, for you to discover the link between food and your cancer, like you're saying, there's a lot of things that you weren't aware of, things that doctors weren't necessarily telling you. What type of research were you doing to understand the link between the foods that you were eating and your cancer?
Actually, this person called Google.
That was your friend?
Yes, that was my friend. Because all you do is get on the web and Google natural diet for cancer, and it comes. And even if you Google a natural cure for cancer, you get so many things, everything, all this, you get everything, and you read. All the herbs that we have in the stores, they are all turmeric, things like turmeric, which we ignore, cayenne pepper, which we ignore, cumin. You can just put that in hot water, drink, that's good for you.
Now, there are people who don't believe that there is a link between that you can lower your risk or get completely rid of cancer through just the foods that you eat. Because one thing about cancer patients is sometimes you feel a loss of control. You're feeling like, I can't control maybe my genetics, it might have been in my family, I can't control the pollution in the environment, you know. Same thing if I eat these foods, what am I actually going to control? So maybe you can talk a little bit about that, were there any naysayers in your life at that time of you saying, you know what, I'm going to eat these healthier foods and you're going to see me reduce the cancer that I have in my body? Were there any people who doubted you?
You see, there are people, what's in the medicine? First of all, ask yourself, what do they use to make the medicine? And all this time, to remain healthy, have you been taking medicine? You've been taking food. So
that's true.
Food
that's
can
very
heal
true.
you. Otherwise, we should be on medicine instead of food. Yeah, so food can heal you. Because I'm sure whatever they are putting in the medicine, it's based on what we eat. So what would be better, really? I'm not saying don't take your medication. That's why I went for chemo. but somehow I've deferred my radiotherapy. I want to try this first and see what happens.
Okay, so talk to us about how you began with that and deciding that, you know, changing what I eat is going to, is it lowering your risk of you know, these symptoms getting worse? Is it curing your cancer? What were you after when you were researching foods?
I'm after both. If it lowers, well and good. If it cures, well and good. And it can do both. It will lower and it will cure.
Okay.
Why will it not cure? Because God said, eat the garden, from the Garden of Eden. Where are we eating? We are eating from the supermarket. If we are eating from our gardens, the cure is there. Yeah, and then you believe in God. Like I said, my first food is the Bible. I read the Bible, I believe in the Bible, and I do what the Bible says. And the Bible says, ask and you shall be given. So I've asked God for good health. So He is going to give me good health. He has given me good health. Look, I went through my chemo. I didn't have any problems. Why? God was with me. So I went back to the Garden of Eden and started eating. What's in the lemon? Google. This is the radish carrot, sorry. What's in it? You Google, you will be able to see. What are the benefits for celery? You will see. I took when I was during my chemotherapy, I was taking 8 glasses of the carrot juice. Wow. Every day. You just stagger it such that within by 6 to 6, you've taken your 8 glasses. But most important, when I wake up, I take a liter of water before taking anything else. Actually, I just pray. I do my praise and worship. And then before stepping out, I take my water 1 liter, which should be, if you can take it hot, fine, but you know, bearable, whatever is bearable, let it not be cold. Then within that, by the time I finish showering, I finish doing whatever I'm doing, it's an hour. You know, it takes an hour for a girl to get ready. So after that, I go for my breakfast. What do I take for my breakfast? This is what I take. I take about this.
You blend?
I don't blend, I juice. That. I take that. I take that.
So it's the celery, garlic, radish, broccoli, and lemon.
Yes.
Okay.
I juice all those together. And I drink.
And that's your breakfast?
That's my breakfast, yes.
Wow.
And it's not much. It's just one of each, because it gives me about just a tiny, about this much, about 10 or 9 spoons.
And that's filling enough for you?
You see, the problem with us, should I say Africans?
Yeah, sure.
We eat food, not nutrients. I've learned to eat nutrients, not food. I've lost about 10 kgs. I was 65, I'm now about 55. Why? Because we are carrying a lot of weight. We are carrying food, not nutrients. So I've decided from now on, I'm going to just carry nutrients, because that's what the body needs.
And for an average lunch for you, what types of things do you eat?
For an average lunch, I'll just boil anduma, and then maybe put it in the oven so that it's crunchy, and I eat that. And I'll maybe mix water with cayenne pepper, and I take with that. Yeah. Then
for you, because you said you were pretty healthy even before you got cancer, was it a matter of removing certain things from your diet, or was it a matter of adding, you know, these nutrients?
Actually, when I think about it, you know, I've always been healthy, but I used to get my food from home. Like I would go back to Dange, slaughter a goat, put it in the freezer, or carry the food from there, the vegetables, because it's cheaper there. And I'm always there because I work with the communities there. But little did I know the water was contaminated.
Wow.
So whatever we were eating had the oil in it. So I was busy eating healthy, but it wasn't. It wasn't healthy. Yeah. So that's when I try to trace it, that's why I can trace it, because I've always eaten healthy. Yes, if it's my sukuma wiki, I want to get it from the village where I'm thinking it's good. But I did not know that. Until, because it was discovered in 2015, the oil spill, the Kenya pipeline oil spill that spilled in Dange. Yes.
Right. And so before you were just talking about your average lunch, so maybe you can continue from there.
Now this is after my new life, my cancer life. Before that, I would still eat my ugali at lunchtime. We do ugali and sukuma wiki. You know, in the evening I'll do rice, carrot, peas, and potatoes. I used to eat meat, but then for the body to digest meat, it releases a lot of acid, and cancer feeds on acid.
Okay.
So I had to put that away completely.
So no meat in your diet right now?
No meat in my diet right now.
This is not just red meat, because we've heard, you know, the effects of red meat, of processed meats, but for you it's none at all?
Yeah, no meat in my life now.
Okay.
Yes. Sugar, no sugar in my life.
Okay.
Starch, no starch in my life. Because, well, the healthy starch, when I take Noma, that's healthy starch. But you'll not find me eating rice, chapati. Sometimes I just take it, I chew it, and then I just remove it from my mouth and throw it away. I don't swallow. Because there are times you just go and see, people are eating nice things. So that's what I do when I really can't resist. I just put it in my mouth. I do that because I am fighting cancer. Yeah. If you don't have cancer, you can still eat your brown chapati, but in moderation. Because before that, I would make chapatis, because for the Adventists, we prepare our foods on Fridays. So I would prepare it on Friday. I make like 30 chapatis. And by Monday, I've cleared, you know, and it's just me and my daughter and maybe the house help. And how many chapatis are those? That's a lot of food. And I'm busy telling myself, you're eating healthy, but am I eating in moderation? If you eat chapati, eat one chapati. Then maybe next week eat another chapati. But I would eat like maybe every weekend by Friday. How many chapatis have I eaten? 10. Because by the time it's being prepared, you've eaten one. You just,
So I'm curious to hear how this has changed in, you know, your household as well. You know, how your daughter eats, how you prepare food for your family. Because, I mean, you're eating quite a strict diet right now, but have you adjusted how it is that the rest of your family eats?
What I do is I prepare everything, and you have a choice because it's your life. You've already seen what has happened. So I always prepare everything. I'll prepare the veggies that everybody can eat, the starch, and the meat. It will be there. And sometimes you just find the meat sits there until you end up, you know, giving it to the dogs because nobody's eating, because everybody's aware. The most important thing is to be aware and then make a choice. Yes, if you want to eat the meat, you can, but you know what it's doing for you.
Yeah. There's also been research done about the beverages that we intake, the carbonated beverages, the sodas, the juices, and all of those, and how they contribute. Like you were saying, no sugar in your life right now, but there are people who don't even understand that plays a part into you know, foods that cancer feeds on.
Well, soda, for it to be that appealing, it has a lot of sugar. So what are you doing when you take the sugar? You're feeding the cancer. Cancer loves sugar so much. That's the main feeder for cancer. Yeah. So if you're taking sodas, go somewhere and take water. What's wrong with water?
Lifestyle habits, smoking, drinking, alcohol, all these things we've been warned about, but we kind of just, you know, avoid until, you know, perhaps it's too late. Those are also quite, they contribute quite a bit to, you know, cancer cells forming and multiplying in our bodies.
Well, there are people who drink all their lives and nothing ever happens. You know, but you know what alcohol does to your body. Anything that is going to alter my brain, I always say, why would I take it? Because if it was good, why do people black out? You find somebody that is so well behaved, so respected, but the minute they take alcohol, it's a different person. Why would I want to do that to my body? Why would I want to do that? Yeah. Alcohol kills your brain cells. Forget even giving you cancer. It's your brain cells that it kills. Yeah. Yeah, it may not give you cancer, but hey, half the time,
So after you finished the chemo, you've changed your diet completely. What are some of the things that you started noticing different about how you felt?
Wow. Having lost 10 kgs, you feel good, first of all. But of course, you meet people who are like, oh no, you've lost so much weight. I say, I feel good. So I feel good. You move easily. When I do my exercises in the morning, I'm able to do things that I was not able to do. 10 kgs is a lot of weight to have lost. And my skin is just different. It's soft. And it just feels smooth, very, very, the difference on my skin, the one that I can see myself, because I knew my body before.
Did you discuss these changes that you made with your doctor, and what was sort of his response to, you know, because a lot of people are just, you know, if I have cancer, let me get medicated and see if I'll get better. But you went completely, like you're talking about exercise, and you changed your diet completely. What thoughts did your doctor have about what you were doing?
Actually, the doctor does not talk to you about your diet. Because I remember at one point when I was receiving my chemo, they normally bring you like, because the chemo goes on for 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours. And they brought in white bread. And I remember saying, you're not serious. You're giving us white bread? You're not serious. And that was the, I think there was a change there, because after that, I kept on seeing them bringing us arrowroot, which I was very impressed. So, like you're saying, the doctor does not, he's not a nutritionist. If you want to talk about nutrition, you find a nutritionist. So the doctors don't talk. The doctors talk about medicine.
That's it.
That's it.
Did you consult with a nutritionist during this period of time when you were going through the changes?
Like I said, the Adventist, from the time you're in that church, they talk about diet, what you should eat, what you should not eat. We are all aware.
So that was something that was also embedded in you. When you were talking about chapatis and portion sizes, how did you adjust that? Because portion control is a huge part, I think, of diet and nutrition as well. Because you know, there's some things that you can sort of even overdo, even if they're healthier than other options. Is that something that changed as well?
Yeah, like I said, if I eat a chapati today, which I'm not yet eating because I'm still cancer patient. If I eat a chapati, maybe I'll just eat a quarter. And like I told you, I will not, swallowing is, I have to, because my daughter watches also. When I'm eating, she goes like, Mommy, are you going to eat that? And I know what that is, what she's saying. Are you trying to leave me? You know, so I eat right for her. Yes, because I want to be around for her.
And how has the rest of your family adjusted? You talked about this was not a genetic thing for you. I think you said your sister-in-law, but that's not direct blood relation. So your larger family had not had an experience with cancer before you. So how have they adjusted to you fighting this battle?
I can say everybody's aware of what they are eating, they are watching, because now when it comes home, yes, it was home already, but now when it's your blood, it shocks you. You're like, okay, it's here again, because it was already there with my sister-in-law. So everybody is aware, and they've changed the way they're eating. They're trying to do this. I think the most important thing in the morning is to, after your water, you just take juice. Because the food you ate last night, it's still in your body. You don't want to eat anything that's going to ferment in your body. And that's the point I've been trying to tell them. Anything that you know will ferment in your body, don't eat it. And that's why a lot of time we are told, eat before 8, so that by the time, actually 7:30, by the time you're going to bed, the food has digested, you don't go to sleep, and the food will ferment, right? Because you're sleeping, nothing is going on. And when you're sleeping, that's the time the body is supposed to be repairing. The other thing that people ignore is sleep. You find that, oh, and that was me. Before I could sleep, the earliest I slept was 1 o'clock every day.
Wow.
And I'll still wake up at 6 to make sure my daughter gets to school.
This is because of your work, or?
Just me. I'm a night person.
Okay.
You know, those people that
So sleep was not necessarily a priority
it was not a priority for me. But right now, because I also, from research, I realized that the body is being repaired between 10 and midnight. So you're better off going to bed at 10, waking up after midnight, because the body repair has taken place. That is the time it takes place. But you find we try everything to be able to do everything and sleep at midnight. When you sleep at midnight, for me, if I slept out, I've slept early. So I've had to adjust quite a lot my sleeping pattern. It's important to sleep. Sleep is the most important. You can eat right. If you're not sleeping, at what time does the body get repaired? The other thing that maybe not talked about, this is not the only thing I take. Fruits. Take all your fruits. All your fruits are necessary. Your vegetables, the rawer the better. You find somebody making, I'll use my mother-in-law. When I first got married, my mother-in-law used to put the cabbage first, then than the potato. And I say, Mom. Then she would say, oh, that's how I make it. But you make sure that your food is still raw. Because remember, we are trying to eat as in the Garden of Eden. There was no fire. So anytime you're cooking, anything you're cooking, just know it's not right. But it's for the body. You're doing it for your taste.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, and I've spoken to nutritionists who've said, you know, our tendency to cook and overcook vegetables loses the nutritional value, produces acidity in the body, and that's not helpful, as you've spoken about as well.
Yes.
Just, you know, you've had quite a positive disposition in your journey, as I've just you talk, but this is something that takes a toll on people, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially. I mean, just your whole world changes. And for someone, you know, who's just been diagnosed with cancer, who might be watching this, there's usually some people experience a period of time where a blame game happens and they feel like, what did I do wrong? Doing that has caused me cancer. You seem like you didn't have that period of time at all. So for someone who might be going through that and sort of blaming themselves and decisions they might have made in the past, what would you say to them?
In life, nothing happens without God. So if God has allowed it, why should I have an issue? It's my time to get up and say, the Bible says, glorify God in whatever the situation. Even when your child dies, glorify God. Whatever the situation, there's no time he's come up and said, blame me. So, because you only struggle with life if you don't believe in God. Because you'll always have those why. So give everything to God. And then you'll be fine. Have peace in mind. Because if you trust in God, what's the worst thing that could happen to me? Die? We are all going to die. Everybody has their time. So, and the Bible says your days are numbered. So, if the days are numbered, why would I worry? Stop worrying. Start living the life that you have now. Just if it's your medication, take your medication. Be happy. When you're miserable, you make everybody around you miserable because they're already going through worse than you. Because when it's you, they wish they could help, but they don't know how to. So when you get there, and like when I went for chemo, I would walk in and I'm like, hey, and they're like, and everybody cheers up, and they stop. You find somebody sitting like,
feeling
and I
sorry
said,
for
why
themselves.
are you sitting like this? What's wrong? I have the same thing. Come on, let's get this thing going. And we get out and we talk, and I would tell them, go change the way you're eating, and we talk and talk and talk. So don't sit there miserable. Everybody hates being around a miserable person. Do you like being around a miserable person?
Not at all.
Just being sick doesn't. You're not sick if you're laughing. Staying like this. Oh, no. Come on. Just wake up. Cheer up so that you can give hope to other people. And also when you're sitting like this, when you're feeling sad, or mentally you're feeling sad, what are you producing? Acid. And the cancer is feeding, so you're not going to heal. You're going to get up and you have to wake up and be happy. Yeah, life is short, but the shorter it is, enjoy it. Yeah, enjoy it. You never know. Life is short. At 100, life is still short because everybody wants to live. God, my mother is 81, and she was the one you interviewed here. She did her master's at 80. So I've told God, I want my mother's years. And God says, whatever you ask, I shall give. So I want to be that old. Yeah, so I'm going to live long.
You were diagnosed in October.
Yes.
What is your prognosis right now in terms of your and you know, you corrected me and told me you're a cancer patient, not cancer survivor, but where are you in your journey right now?
Right now, I'm at pause with medication. Yeah, I just want to do this. Then after that, I want to go and do what they call the PET scan, whereby they check the whole body and they tell you if you might be having cancer anywhere in your body. Because you hear the cancer has traveled. That's something I don't believe. The cancer, they tell you, oh, it has moved to wherever. No, what happens is when you do chemotherapy, according to what I've read, when you do chemotherapy, all the cells, the healthy ones, the cancerous ones, and they grow back again. So where is this cancer? I've always wondered, where is this cancer moving from? Because we've killed all the cells. But what happens is the cells that are left in your body, the ones that begin to grow, they are weak. So they start like cancer cells, so they become cancerous if you don't feed them nutrients. If you continue feeding them with food, that food is acidic, the food is fermented. So what happens? They become cancerous. And cancer will choose where to go. We don't know how it chooses where to go. That's fine for the ladies. Oh, it moved to the ovaries, some to the lungs. But if you eat healthy, once you realize that, you change. You know, you eat more raw, more raw. The cells, the healthy cells become healthy, and this stuff that you're seeing here, cancer does not feed on that. It doesn't, because it has no acid. It's alkaline. So you're trying to alkaline your body. So once you do that, the cancer cells begin to die. And that's what I am trying to prove. So that when I tell some, because I'm as a cancer patient, I want to see, does it work? Is it a story? Because for me, it's a story. So I want to find out, how true can this story be? Yes, so I'm an experiment.
So you've paused medication. You're completely focusing on diet right now. How long have you been doing that?
My last chemo was in February.
Okay.
So, and we're in May. So I don't know where I am right now.
Right.
I intend to travel out, because they don't have a PET scan machine here in the country.
Okay.
I intend to travel out to just go do the PET scan and do the rest of it out there.
Okay. And in how many months will you be checking on your progress?
I will be going out on, I hope to travel on the 16th of June, because I wait for my daughter to close school so that I can travel with her.
Yeah.
Yes.
But as you mentioned, so far you've felt results in your body. You've seen yourself lose weight. You've seen your skin become smoother, and you're feeling good.
Actually, so what happens, like with breast cancer, or I don't know other cancer, I can only talk about breast cancer. When I eat wrong, I feel a movement, and I always say, why did I eat that chapati? Why did I swallow the ice cream? You know, and that wakes me up, and I go back to, then I'll go and do any of my juices, and we just knock it out, because you have to keep knocking the cancer cells. Right. It's not like they are not there. I can't say, I'm aware they're there. So whatever you eat, you're feeding them, so they're growing. The tumor grows, because initially, you remember, initially it's a tiny thing. And I want to tell the women that the doctor will not tell you. The doctor is not the one that is going to discover you have cancer. No, you have to feed. You just don't wash and dress up and look good, and inside you don't know what's going on. Find out what's going on. There's a lot of breast cancer in the country, and there are other cancers. And if you, first of all, your breathing changes. That was the first thing that I noticed with myself. Your breathing, when you go to sleep, you're like, and I'm like, why is it that I can hear my breath? Because normally when you breathe, it's natural, right? So that's when I knew there was something. So you have to know your body, watch your body,
and pay attention to what's happening.
Pay attention to every little change, because now, being in the cancer world, I've met people who have colon cancer, and they've been having tests, and the tests have been showing negative until stage 4. And you wonder, I came here for this, you did this, especially the internal ones. At least breast we can feel. But like the colon cancer, somebody feels like you have acid. And the doctor will tell you, oh, it's acid, you're having ulcers. They start treating you for ulcers. If you're not feeling better, don't continue taking that. Just find out, what is it? What is it? And I think in this country, people need to just wake up and just go do cancer tests, whatever it is. Just check your blood. Is blood all right? Whatever they check when they're checking for cancer, let everybody out there do it, especially in the cities, because in the city, we don't eat right. We eat whatever.
Our lifestyle habits are not up to par as well.
Yes, they are not.
So pay attention to what's happening in your body. Get a second opinion, as you did, and of course, change your lifestyle and your eating habits. Thank you so much, Kathini, for being here and sharing your story with us. There might be people who want to get in touch with you and know more about your story. You've talked about networking with other cancer patients and learning from them. There might be people who want to learn from you. How can people get to know more of your story and get in touch with you?
We're going to get on our Facebook, Mutunga Foundation. We are on Facebook. We are on Twitter. There's a number there if somebody wants to call me.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for making time for us this morning on Power Breakfast. We've been talking about the connection between diet, nutrition, and cancer, and you've heard a first-hand experience here from a cancer patient. I hope that you've learned something for anyone that you know in your family or yourself experiencing what Kadhini has been going through. I hope that you've learned a thing or two. We're going to continue with music from Enoch, who's going to take